परमहंस परिव्रजा चक्राचार्य अष्टोत्तर शिष्यमति वंगेश्वरी ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय।
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्यामा कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। मथुरापुरी वृंदावन धाम की जय। गंगा माई जमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी की जय। श्याम वेद भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Hare Hare. So thank you very much for attending this class. Today we are reading Canto 1, Chapter 15, entitled The Pandavas Retire Timely, and text number 47 and 48. They're both together and very nice slok. So I will read 3 times and then you can recite. Tadadhyano driktaya bhaktya vishuddha dhishana pare etasmin narayana pade ekanta matayo gatim avapur durvapamte asadbhir vishayatmabhi विधूत कल्मषास्थानं विरजेनात्मन एव हि तद्ध्यानो दृक्तया भक्त्या विशुद्धधीशनः परे तस्मिन्नारायण पदे एकान्तमतयो गतिम् आवापुर्दुर्वापं ते सत् असद्भिर्विषयात्मभिः विधूत कल्मषास्थानं विरजेनात्मन एव हि तद्ध्यानो दृक्तया भक्त्या विशुद्धधीशनः परे तस्मिन् नारायण पदे एकान्तमतयो गतिम् आवापुरदुर्वापां ते असद्भिर्विषयात्मभिः विधूत कल्मषास्थानं विरजेनात्मन एव हि. Please recite.
तद्ध्यानोद्रिक्तया भक्त्या विशुद्धधिशना परे तस्मिन्नारायणपदे एकान्तामतयो गतिम् अवापुर्दुरवापां ते असद्भिर्विषयात्मभिः विधूतकल्मषास्थानं विरजेनात्मनैव हि.
तद्ध्यानद्रोकृतया भक्त्या विशुद्धाधीशना परे तस्मिन्नारायणपदे एकान्तो मतयो गतिम् आवापुर्दुरावपामते असद्भिर्विषयात्मभिः विधूता कल्मषास्थानं विराजमते मनैव हि.
तद्ध्यानोद्रिक्तया भक्त्या विशुद्धाधीशना परे तस्मिन्नारायणपदे एकान्तमात्मनो गतिम् अवापुर्दुर्वापं ते असद्भिर्विषयात्मभिः विधूत कल्मषास्थानं विरजानात्मनैव.
हरे कृष्ण. तद्ध्यानो दृक्तया भक्तया विशुद्धो दिशिनः परे तस्मिन्नारायण पदे एकान्तमतयो गतिम् अवापुर्दुर्वापामते असद्भिर्विषयात्मभिः विधूतकल्मषास्थानं विरजेनात्मनैव हि.
तद्ध्यानोद्रिक्तया भक्त्या विशुद्धाधीशना परे तस्मिन्नारायणपदे एकान्तमतयो गतिम् अवापुर्दुर्वापां ते असद्भिर्विषयात्मभिः विधूता कल्मषास्थानं विरजैन विरजे विरजयनात्मनैव हि।
Anyone else? Otherwise, we will read word to word translation. Tat, that, dhyana, positive meditation. Utriktaya, being freed from. Bhaktya, by the devotional attitude. Vishuddha, purified. Dishanaha, by intelligence. Pare, unto the transcendence. Tasmin, in that. Narayana, the personality of Godhead. Shri Krishna, Pade, unto the lotus feet. Ekanta Matayaha, of those who are fixed in Supreme, who is one. Gatim, destination. Avapuhu, attain. Durvapam, very difficult to obtain. Te, by them. Asadbihi, by the materialist. Vishayatmabhihi, absorbed in material need. Vidhuta, washed off. Kalmasha, material contamination. Sthanam, abode. Virajena, without material possession, without material passion. Atmana eva, by the self-same body, he, certainly. Thus, translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Thus, by pure consciousness, due to constant devotional remembrance, they attain the spiritual sky, which is ruled over by Supreme Narayan, Lord Krishna. This is attained only by those who meditate upon the one Supreme Lord without deviation. This abode of Sri Krishna, known as Golok Vrindavan, cannot be attained by persons who are absorbed in material conception of life. But the Pandavas, being completely washed of all material contamination, attain that abode in their very same bodies. According to Shri Jiva Goswami, a person freed from the three modes of material qualities, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance, and situated in transcendence, can reach the highest perfection of life without change of body. Sri Sanatana Goswami, in his Hari Bhakti Vilas, says that a person, whatever he may be, can attain the perfection of twice born Brahman by undergoing a spiritual disciplinary action under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. Exactly as the chemist can turn gunmetal into gold by chemical manipulation. It is therefore the actual guidance that matters in the process of becoming a Brahman, even without change of body, or in going back to Godhead without change of body. Srila Jiva Goswami remarks that the word he used in this connection positively affirms this truth, and there is no doubt about this factual position. The Bhagavad Gita 14:26 also affirms this statement of Srila Jiva Goswami when the Lord says that anyone who executes devotional service systematically without deviation can attain the perfection of Brahman by surpassing the contamination of the three modes of material nature. And when the Brahman perfection is still more advanced by self-same execution of devotional service, there is no doubt that all that one can attain the supreme spiritual planet Golok Vrindavan without change of body, as we have already discussed in connection with the Lord's returning to his abode without a change of body. Om Agyanti Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunimlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. So this shlok is very nice shlok actually. And yesterday actually we discussed about, in the last shlok, about lotus feet of Lord Krishna and how those lotus feet, are very important. And that should be our goal of life actually. And when I was preparing yesterday about this shlok, this is very good shlok. It has so many different things actually, like we can discuss, like bhakti without deviation, that whenever we do devotional service, there should be no deviation. We should continuously focus on the Lord only and do it with a fixed mind. And there is description of Golok Vrindavan, how Pandavas went to the Golok Vrindavan in the same body, how it can be done practically. And most of the emphasis is given on the devotional remembrance, how by remembering the Lord, all the Pandavas can go in this same body. So today's more focus we will give about the devotional remembrance. We will touch other points also, and how to meditate on the Supreme Lord, and how taking shelter of the lotus feet Lord. So there are so many different things can be discussed actually. So who is speaking this shloka actually? This Sud Goswami is speaking from text number 28, and he continues discussing about Lord, how the Pandavas went to the supreme destination, to the sages of Naimisharanya. So actually, it was spoken before by Parikshit Maharaj, and now Sud Goswami is repeating the same thing in the Naimisharanya forest. By Sukdev Goswami, he heard. Sud Goswami heard by Sukdev Goswami before, when he was telling to Parikshit Maharaj, and now Sud Goswami is explaining to the sages of Naimisharanya. So from the text, we read how Maharaj Yudhishthira actually retired. We are discussing for last few days about this, that he relinquished all his royal garments and his ornaments, everything he gave up. He was not putting them on anyway, and he became completely unattached to anything. Then he amalgamated his whole existence by offering his senses, his mind, prana, apana, saman. So all this he gave up for the sake of Supreme Lord, because he wanted to go get his destination, his goal. And he wore torn clothes, and he stopped eating, and also he stopped speaking completely. And he just became like a deaf man. Like we read about Jad Bharat, how he knew everything what is going on, and he remembered his past lives also, but he was not showing up, he was not talking, he was behaving like a madman. So Yudhishthira Maharaj also was not speaking and became completely deaf, and all his life, he was like doing all the work with his brothers, but he didn't care. He just walked out of the palace without his brothers. He didn't wait for his brothers that they let them get out or let them do whatever they want to finish their job. He didn't care about Draupadi, Uttara, anything. He just, because we all came alone in this material world and we all will go alone. So we should not worry about what will happen to my wife or what will happen to my son, or will he be hungry, or who will feed him, like that. We should not worry about all these things, because our job mainly is to, when we are living in this material world, we have to take care of them. But when the time comes for us to go, we should just live. Like we see, like how Parikshit Maharaj, once he knew that in 7 days he will be dying, so he gave up his kingdom to Parikshit, to his son, and he just left. Similarly, Bharat Maharaj also went, Yudhishthira Maharaj also going. So this is the examples, that at the end of the life, we have to keep our goal, rather than worrying about these material things, because we have to go to supreme destination, and that is the best thing for us. So he didn't wait for his brothers, and he started towards north in the footsteps of great souls. So wherever the great acharyas and everybody, so he was following their example. So that is that should be our goal also in our life, that we should follow the previous acharyas. What they say, we have to completely follow, not whatever we like, follow that, and don't follow whatever we don't like. That's not the proper mood. Proper mood should be to follow them completely, what acharyas did in the past. And we should actually devote ourselves in Krishna's service. So like Yudhishthira Maharaj did, he fully devoted himself to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And after Yudhishthira Maharaj left, his all brothers also noted the signs of Kali Yuga, because as soon as Lord Krishna left this planet, at that time also, the signs of Kali Yuga started actually. And then it really came very fast once Kali Yuga started. So Kali Yuga starts when Krishna left this planet and went to Golok Vrindavan. At that time, Kali Yuga started. And so Pandavas also follow completely on the footsteps of their elder brother Maharaj Yudhishthira. They also didn't wait for Draupadi to come or Subhadra to come, they just left the palace. And they all brothers actually meditated upon the Lord's lotus feet without any interruption. So that's also very important, that we should not have any interruption in our bhakti, because these interruptions, the think about this, think about that, material things will not count actually, at the time of that. We have to just have our consciousness purified completely. So Pandavas actually, they were actually not from this look. Their body was very like a spiritual body actually they had, because they came from the spiritual planet to actually help Krishna in his Leela and to help him in his mission. So, but still they were acting as a human being, so they all the time thinking about Krishna, and by thinking about Krishna and hearing about Krishna, discussing about Krishna, they made their consciousness completely purified. And they had constant devotional remembrance, because remembrance, we can remember anything in this material world, but actually our remembrance should be for Krishna, not for other thing. And doing that by devotional remembrance, they attained a spiritual sky. And what is the spiritual sky? Like Prabhupada is writing here, that is the place where the Lord Narayan lives, Thus, by pure consciousness, due to constant devotional remembrance, they attain the spiritual sky, which is ruled over by the Supreme Narayan. So, spiritual sky is the Krishna's place. So, there are spiritual worlds, which is 3 times 4. In this material world, there are so many planets, thousands and thousands and millions of planets actually, and they go out of the body of the Mahavishnu when he exhales. And when he inhales, all the planets go in his belly. So that is the way, we come. So, and these spiritual planets all ruled over by the Supreme Narayan, Lord Krishna. This is attained by those who meditate upon the Supreme Lord without deviation. So, spiritual planet, nobody with even the slightest material tinge can go to spiritual world. Nobody can go. They have to completely purify. They have to have pure consciousness. Those people can go. And this abode of Krishna is known as Golok Vrindavan. And it cannot be attained by the persons who are absorbed in the material conception of life. Somebody has material conception of life, he even cannot think about spiritual world, because if you have material desires, then we have to have pure desire to serve a Lord only, no other desire. Then we can go to Krishna. Pandavas, being completely washed of all material contamination, attain the abode in their very same bodies. So this is very important, that how they can reach in the very same body. So Prabhupada in the purport actually writing in the last 3-4 lines that there is no doubt that one can attain supreme spiritual planet without change of the body. So in this regard, Jiva Goswami actually explaining in his book Priti Sandarbha that the word says Atmana. Atmana word means in the very same body. So in the very same body, because their body became by the purified consciousness, it became just eternal body. And so there was no difference, because in our body we have different soul, because our soul is contaminated too much. So we have soul is different in our body, which is asat. Soul is sat actually, and the body is not eternal, but soul is eternal. So soul goes to the planets, and for the last, wherever we have to go, our destination, last destination. But if body actually dissolves in this parthiv sharir, dissolves in the different like ingredients, like air, water, this pancha mahabhut. So it dissolves in that. So Jiva Goswami is saying that this was possible because their bodies were not material. So word is used, virajain. Virajain means not material. And on the top of that, in the shlok, Sukdev Goswami put word he. He means certainly. So that means they went certainly in the same body. And he put word certainly because he want to dispel our doubts, that there should be no doubt that they went in the same original, their body. So Pandavas can do that, and many people in the past, like Dhruv Maharaj also went. The aeroplane came and he took him. So many people in the past, we can read that how they went in the very same body. Also, Srila Prabhupada actually giving reference of Bhagavad Gita 14:26, which says, Mamso yo vyavicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samanetitan tetyan brahma bhuvayaya kalpate. So we have to engage like in spiritual full devotional service actually. One who engages in full devotional service unfailingly in all circumstances at once transcends to the mode of material nature, and this comes to the level of Brahman actually. So how one can do this? That he can fully devote himself, engages himself in devotional service. For that we have to go through so many different things, then only we can do that. Suddenly somebody cannot be just having that engaged fully in the devotional service. So Arjun was asking Lord Krishna, that he was asking 3 questions about Gunatit. Who is the Gunatit? And he asked the 3 questions. So first question he asked, what are the symptoms of Gunatit and how he is known? And second question was, how is his behavior? It's like sthit pragya. He says sthit pragya samadhista kahte Krishna hai kise sthati bolata kaise baithta aur dolta. And third question was, what is the process of transcendenting these 3 modes of material nature? So this 1426 shloka actually is the answer to the Arjun's third question. What is the process of transcendenting these 3 material mode of material nature actually? Because this is very important for all of us, because we have to pass through these 3 modes of nature and completely get transcendent and get out of it. Then only, so Krishna says that by bhakti only one will attain this Brahman platform. But actually a devotee just doesn't want to be Brahman actually. Brahman is the impersonalist perceptive, that we actually, as a devotee actually, we have to desire not just the Brahman realization, but we want to serve Krishna. That's a devotee's main business. So Krishna actually is stressing here that by bhakti, again, bhakti yogena sevate. Sevate means to do the service, devotional service, and bhakti. So Krishna is stressing here on bhakti point. So actually, remembrance of Krishna or meditating on the Krishna, on the Supreme Lord only, not on any other thing, because we can remember, concentrate, or we have remembrance at the time of death about our wife, our mother, father, or our children, or whatever it may be, our money, our house, our car. If we meditate, oh yes, I was in the remembrance, but remembrance of what? That thing is most important, because remembrance should be only for Krishna, not for anything material. Then only we can succeed. So to have success in our Krishna consciousness, we have to remember that the Supreme Lord constantly, not with interruption. Actually, we all the time, whatever we are doing, continuously we should have the remembrance of Krishna. And that is the only way we can purify our consciousness. So we have to do, in the Vedic literature, there are so many things given, how we can purify our existence. So first thing actually is like Bhagavad Gita says that we have to take shelter of a guru. So, and in the guru, we should have complete faith, not like, oh, I don't know what my guru does and if he is a proper person or not. We have to select a proper guru actually, that he is fully dedicated to Krishna, and we have to see if actually he is actually listening and following his spiritual master. That's what we have to see, and how he passes his time, serving Lord Krishna. So we have to actually first make sure that we have full faith in our spiritual master, and we have to serve him very seriously and follow his all instructions. You know, it's not like some instructions we like to follow. We follow, and some instruction we don't like, we don't follow. It's not like that. We have to be very humbly follow all his instructions. Then only our life will be successful. And then chanting is very important, because Naam and the Krishna's name and Krishna himself, they are non-different. So we should chant actually with full concentration and with a great love for Krishna. And like a child cries for his mother, that way we have, during the chanting, we should cry from inside that I really need Krishna. I want to take shelter of your lotus feet. So if we do in that kind of consciousness, then only we can succeed. And the chanting should be done in the Brahma Muhurta, early in the morning, not whenever we want. Because in the Brahma Muhurta, we are well rested, our mood, there is not so much noise outside, our mood is so fresh, so we can chant with great concentration, and we can chant with other devotees also. Like people who live in the temple, they can chant together. So together chanting is much better, but we can do at home also, or on the Zoom also, we can chant with other serious devotees, like-minded devotees. So that will be best thing to do. Another thing one has to do to purify himself is reading the spiritual literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and books written by all the previous great acharyas actually. So if we read that, then that will also purify our consciousness. And we have to hear also Krishna Katha, and hearing we should do very attentively, not just like doing something else. Like sometimes we put on Zoom class and we are thinking something else and doing something else, and Zoom is on. So that's not hearing actually. Hearing should be very attentively, not paying attention to 10 things, Like Bhagavad Gita has Slok 241, Eke He Guru Nandana Bahu Shaka. So that it's not multi-branch, it should be one focused thing we should do at a time in the bhakti. So that will actually purify us slowly. So that way we can think about Krishna more and more. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhya jimam namaskuru. So Krishna made it so easy for us. He said, Man mana, keep thinking about me, meditate upon me, become my devotee, and worship me, and offer obeisances unto us. That's why, like we can see with our these 6 Goswamis, how many times they offer obeisances. I heard someone, was offering 2,000 times. I think it's a Rupa Goswami or Sanatana Goswami, 2,000 every day times, But at least we should offer as much as possible obeisances, If you become old, like me, then we can reduce it. But as much as we can do, till our body works, nicely, then we should offer as much as possible. And actually, that will give us Krishna's mercy more and more. So as today we are discussing about remembrance of the Lord, how we can remember practically. So there are so many levels of remembrance. So people remember in the different levels of because everybody has different consciousness, at different level. Like somebody may be third grade or fifth grade student, and somebody maybe in PhD level. So remembrance is also like that. Somebody is remembering on very low level, and somebody is remembering Lord in very high level, with deep concentration. So it has 5 different levels. The first level is Smaranam. Smaranam is because our mind actually is looking for some object of remembrance, whom to remember. So of course we know what is the object of remembrance. Our object of remembrance is Lord Krishna, the Supreme Lord. So how this remembrance comes? This remembrance actually comes by hearing Krishna Katha. And only by Krishna Katha actually, that's why in our bhakti, like when the Bhakti Yoga chapters in Bhagavad Gita start, the first slok is Tat Shrunu. So that means you listen. So listening actually purifies us. But when we listen, we have to have firm faith in Krishna. If we don't have firm faith, then listening will not be that effective. And if we keep listening actually, and then actually when we are not listening at that time also, we will be remembering Lord easily. Because if we hear many hours in a day, then actually we can remember him also when we are not hearing. Also like chanting also, many of us actually work outside, and we are all grahasthas, so we have to support a family, so we have to work. So people are working, but at work also, every hour, 2 hour, stop work, and just for a few minutes, we can remember Krishna. We can just say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So that is the way, all the time, we can remember Krishna that way. We should actually try to always engage ourselves in the hearing about absolute truth. And that will help actually. So when we keep hearing about Lord Krishna or Krishna Katha, then our taste for the mundane things, mundane matters will decrease automatically. Ravindra Prabhu used to say in his classes all the time that to taste, how our interest, where our interest is. If we are more and more interested in material things, that means our bhakti is less and less. If our bhakti is more and more, then our interest will slowly decrease down, and we will be having very little taste or no taste at all for mundane things in this material world. So second stage, after the first is Smaranam, second stage is Dharana, or we can also say Rupa Smaranam. Rupa Smaranam is remembering the beauty of Krishna. Beauty of Krishna. Why beauty of Krishna? Because Krishna name itself, Krishna means most beautiful. So we have to remember the beauty of Krishna, how beautiful he is, how the Brajavasis used to remember Krishna's beauty, waiting for a whole day, thinking about him, that in the evening he will be coming, and they all will finish their work before evening time, and they will stand across the road, the path where Krishna will come back. Some will come out, in their galleries and watch Krishna, how he's coming. When the Godhuli they will see, immediately they will come out that Krishna is coming now with his cows, and they were so eager to see him. So that should be our consciousness, thinking about Krishna all the time, what Krishna must be doing. All the Brajvasi have no business except talking about Krishna, what Krishna did today, what Krishna did yesterday, like that, what he's wearing, how beautiful he looks, like that. So we have to remember all these Krishna Leelas and meditating on that. So actually, the first stage, we do Nam Japa and remember Krishna's name, but in this stage actually becomes form or roop of Lord. So we meditate more on the form of the Lord, actually, his beauty of the Lord. And in this stage, actually, all our activity of material life diminishes, goes down. And there is no desire for fruitive activities, that I just will spend my time now for Krishna's sake only, not for other things, of this material world. So our thinking, our remembering Krishna, our feeling, our contemplating on Krishna, these all activities actually create different impressions, different feeling in our heart actually. And this ultimately will go with our, when we die, you know, so these impressions goes, deep impressions, super impressions, whatever impressions we have, they go with our soul actually when we live, because our material body will be here, but these impressions, what we do bhakti, it goes. That's why sometimes we see that some people, you know, they start telling the shlokas and everything, they remember whatever. They were great devotees in the past life, you know, so they start right from the childhood. You may see some child, you know, gifted child, which are just within second year, third year of their life, you know, they will show all the signs of bhakti and how they remembered, how they got it, because they were doing this thing and they had impressions in their soul. On those impressions show up. That's why somebody can recite Bhagavad or give very nice class at age 7 or age 6, you know, something like that. So that's what this thing happened. This stage, like, which is Rupa Smarana, this stage is also part of Varna. Varna means what? Accepting the Lord Krishna is everything. So when we accept Lord, you know, that it is all in all, so we have to cultivate that mood of acceptance. And once we got that okay, Krishna is everything, then there is nothing else remains important in this material world. So all the time when we reach to this stage, we have blissful remembrance of Lord Krishna and his pastime activities. So we have really, in this stage, we have a lot of faith in Lord Krishna, the Shraddha. And we actually want to hear the qualities of the Lord and pastimes of the Lord. And pastimes should be heard from the exalted devotees, pure devotees of the Lord. Because hearing pastimes, and then sometimes some speakers, you know, they make it very contaminated. So we should hear. That's why it is in the parampara with the proper person, not for anybody, you know, we should not hear. Because if you go to like YouTube, you know, you can see so many classes are there, and many from the nonsense people also, you know, so you don't want to hear them because that will contaminate our consciousness. So we should try to hear from the proper authority, proper source, you know. Like Srila Prabhupada's classes are very small. We should listen more and more to them, and that will really help us. And there are so many exalted devotees in ISKCON, and we should hear their katha. So when we get to the stage of Rupa Smarana, then this should be really relished in the particular ras. There are different kind of rasas in the Vaikuntha Lok. So in one of those, like Sakhya, Shantaras, Sakhya ras, then Madhurya ras, like parental. So this kind of thing, you know, we in one of those ras, you know, this will stimulate our latent inclination for the Raganubhakti, because we all have devotion. Actually, we are part and parcel of Krishna, our soul. So we all have latent, hidden devotion in our heart. But because we came in this material world, and this material world has three, like mode of passion, mode of ignorance, and these kind of things. So in these three different modes, actually, we get involved so much that our consciousness gets impure. So with impure consciousness, we cannot think about Lord. But if we remember Krishna's beauty, and so we can get Raganu Bhakti or spontaneous devotional service. And then we can actually slowly we can make progress, and our sentiment also gets more pure. So like we should follow the residents of Braj, what they were doing, how greedy they were about thinking about Krishna. So we should actually follow the footsteps of residents of Braj. So third stage is dharana. Dharana means acceptance of the Lord in the heart and spontaneously drawn to the lotus feet of Krishna. How we can think about lotus feet of Krishna all the time, because that is the proper shelter for all of us. That how the Pandavas actually achieved the lotus feet of Krishna, and that is our final destination, the lotus feet of Krishna. And the devotee at that stage actually is overwhelmed by the spiritual emotions all the time. He has spiritual emotions, So dhyana stage, this third stage actually, or smaranam stage, in this stage, the devotees actually think about the qualities of the Lord. Because in the second stage, actually, we read that about the beauty of Lord. In this stage, we more emphasize on the quality of Lord. Lord has so many gunas, all the gunas he has. And all those gunas we should remember with great concentration. So that's why Pandavas was already all the time remembering on the qualities of the Lord, that how Krishna helped them all the time, how in all the difficulties Krishna was helping them. So all the qualities actually, and Krishna has this quality, that quality. So they were deeply meditating on the qualities, and constantly they were meditating on that. And that's why actually they could go to Golok Vrindavan in the same body which they had in this material world. So it's very difficult actually to go in the same body, but yes, the devotees can do that. And when we hear the katha, Krishna katha, actually, our mind should be there, because many times our mind is not in the katha, thinking about something else. So this is very important. Whenever we hear, we should hear with great concentration. Otherwise, it will not give that benefit what we are looking for. And we must actually pay the attention to the devotional sound vibration when we are chanting, when we are hearing Krishna Katha. So because those sound vibrations make the changes, cleans our heart and purifies us. So we should actually pay a lot of attention to sound vibrations. Because we know the Brahmaji also heard the sound vibration when he didn't know what to do. So we are also bewildered like that. What to do in this material world, why Krishna sent us. So when we hear Katha, like Brahmaji only heard tapa, and he knew that I had to do meditation. So that is the way we have to follow. And we have to meditate on whom? The pastimes of Radha and Krishna with the divine couple. And we have to think about that, what kind of our identity. Our identity should be the servant, dasanu, 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 das. So in that mood, if we remember Krishna, then as a servitor of the divine couple, then our life will be sublime actually. And the fourth stage of the remembrance is Dhruva Anusmriti, or we should have firm faith in Krishna. And in this stage actually, the devotees should be actively engaged in remembering the activities of Krishna, Leela Smriti. So active, like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam. So Krishna's birth and Krishna's activity, they are all divya. So if we remember, meditate on the activities of Krishna, that will really help us a lot. And devotee, any devotee who is able to invoke that blissful mood about remembering the activities, meditating on that, so then spontaneously that stage will be called bhava, like bhava. And after that, the last stage is samadhi or prem, full complete love with Krishna. He's not interested in anything material of this world. So he completely detaches himself from the temporary material existence. And that way he obtains his constitutional position by mercy of Krishna. Because the Krishna Prem, if we try to get it, we cannot get it. We have to have mercy of Krishna. Then only we can get that. Otherwise, it will be very hard to attain that kind of love from Krishna. And Krishna love, then once one reaches in that stage, he can have that love of Krishna in the Santa Ras, Dasa Ras, Sakya Ras, parental love, or Madhurya Ras, conjugal love, like that. So in one of those rasas, actually one can serve Krishna. Then he will definitely be going to Golok Vrindavan. So like Prabhupada gives example of iron and a magnet, like a piece of iron always suddenly directs to the magnet. So we are actually, Krishna is the magnet and we are the Jiva souls. We are iron. So iron feels good, when he is with the magnet. So similarly, we will feel great. Our soul will feel great when we are with the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, that's why even we have a lot of money, we have all the facilities of the material world, still people cannot be happy. People sometimes think from outside that this guy is very rich, he's multi-billionaire, whatever, and he must be very happy. But you see their life, they are not happy at all. Yeah, they are having divorce from their wife, they are killing themselves, suicide. So those things happens, So it's not the money which makes happy, or it's not any material facility which makes us happy. The happiness only lies with Krishna, because Krishna, we are part and parcel of Krishna, and we can get happiness only with Krishna. Without Krishna, there is no happiness. So now the question comes, how we can practically get remembrance, devotional remembrance of the Lord. So Krishna actually has given in Bhagavad Gita, in the 8th chapter, he says, Yam yam vapisran bhava tejati ante kalevaram tam evate konteva sadatad bhava bhavita. So Bhagavad Gita, it says that whatever stage being one remembers when he quits his body, that stage will attain without fail. So if you are remembering Krishna, you will definitely go to Krishna. If you are remembering your wife, you will take birth as a female in the next life. So, or if it is Mataji, remembering her husband at the time of death, she will become the husband in next life. So that's what Krishna is saying here. In next slok, Krishna is saying, Tasma sarveshu kalesu mamanusmara yuddhacha mayarpita mano buddhir mam evashi sanshayah. So Krishna is saying that Tasma sarveshu kalesu, all the time, all call, you just remember me. You Maya arpita mano buddhir, your mind and intelligence, both you give it to me. And also Krishna is not saying here just remember me all the time. He is also saying that you remember me, and at the same time you continue your fight. So we can do our whatever the prescribed duty for us, we can do that, but at the same time thinking about him all the time. So that will actually help us. So this instruction to Arjuna is very important actually, that all men engaged in, for all the people like us, who are engaged in material activity also. So Lord here is not saying that you give up all the duties. He is saying you continue, at the same time you think of me, chanting my name and remembering me like this. So this will actually free one person from the material contamination, and by chanting the name of Krishna, then you will be transferred to the supreme abode, Lord Krishna's abode. So some practical point actually, because there is not too much time, so I will just give you some important points, because I was hearing the class of Sachinandan Swami, and Sachinandan Swami gives some practical examples. He said that how he's saying that how we can know that our mind is impure, because impure mind always think about the Maya. Our mind, if it is impure mind, it will all the time think about material things, The pure mind, purified mind always remembers Krishna. So we can examine ourselves in what our mind is thinking all the time. If your mind is not pure, it will be pulled to the material information. We will open our feed and who texts me and what is written in this Facebook and all those things, our mind will go, what is the news for today, So these kind of things, our mind will go. If we are pure devotee, naturally our mind will take to Krishna. And impure mind is full of anxieties and the thoughts of wealth and all kind of physical sensation, how I can enjoy this thing, enjoy that thing of this material world. So all these things will come in the mind. So if you want more Krishna consciousness, he's saying that you must first purify your mind. So you are actually able to think about Krishna, feel about Krishna like that. So he gives some practical point, which I will like to say. He says that chant properly, then do the kirtan as much as possible, participate in kirtan, listen to kirtan recordings like that. We should have Krishna song book, and whenever we have time, we should read it and sing those songs. And never we should engage in talking about politics, because this politics will go on all the time, that what Biden is doing and what Trump did and all those things, what is going on in this all material world, this fighting will go on. This will not, if you even don't concentrate on them or don't hear about them, that will be good for our mind and our existence actually in this material world. We should avoid the negative news. And also he's saying that if you want others to stop talking badly about you, first you stop talking badly about others. Because sometimes, somebody says some sentences to us, and really hurts us. But actually, to stop that, we should ourselves not criticize somebody. And then we will slowly see the improvement in the other person also. Because this is very common in this material world, that somebody says something to other guy, it hurts him, and then he will tell you some other words, bad words, like that. So that thing is going on, and to avoid that, we have to be most humble and behave properly with everyone actually. And also the food we eat, that really changes our consciousness. So we should eat all the time very simple food, which is offered to Krishna, not eat outside, because our consciousness will become contaminated with eating outside food. People go to restaurant and all those things. And association with devotee is very important. So he actually gives different things, how actively we remember Krishna. Actually, Prabhupada was taking morning walks with other devotees, and he will tell them about Krishna all the time. We can see all the morning walk, talks were all recorded, and how he tells everything about Krishna, not talking anything which is political or material things, So we should follow the example of Srila Prabhupada, and whatever we talk, we should talk about Krishna, not otherwise. So, and we should not worry if we are on the boat of Krishna consciousness, it will definitely carry us to those and take us away from this ocean of birth and death, repeated cycle of birth and death. So Srila Prabhupada actually is saying that how it is possible to remember Krishna, and how we can think about Krishna all the time. So he gives example of a married woman. Married woman, if she is attached to, if she has a paramour and attached to somebody else, then you can see, she's working very seriously in the house, so nobody can catch her that she's meditating on somebody else, and thinking about some other man. So she will do work perfectly, more better than otherwise she will do. And so similarly, we can remember Krishna and do the things in this material world. So Krishna, so that example is very appropriate actually, that how a lady who can do both things, so we can remain in this material world and think about Krishna. We can do that definitely. So in this, we don't have much time now, so I will try to end here and little time left, so we can discuss something. If somebody has any questions, comments, we can talk about that now. Thank you very much for listening. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. If anybody has questions, please just unmute yourself, or you can even raise your hand. I had a question, Prabhu.
Yes,
Early on, when you were talking about, we have to first start with listening. For listening, for that, we have to have a little faith. But I find that for myself, as I am listening more, my faith is increasing. So, I mean, I must have had some faith to start to come to the temple and to take on this process. But is it also true that if we start listening, then the faith will also come?
Yeah, listening more, the faith will come more and more actually. But yeah, the faith actually comes from mercy of the Guru actually, because somebody cannot suddenly, Guru's mercy has to be there. Somebody cannot get the faith like that on Krishna actually. If you listen Guru, our Guru, spiritual master, very sincerely, all his instructions, and so that by his mercy actually the faith will arise in our heart and grow more and more by listening, because the more we listen, our heart gets more purified and we have more and more faith in Krishna. So that is the process given by the acharyas, and we have to follow that. Without that, the faith will decrease slowly. If we don't hear Krishna Katha all the time and don't read the books, or don't associate with devotees, our faith will go down, and we will be more and more interested in material things. So even we like or not like, but we should listen more and more, as much as Katha is possible, that will give us more and more faith.
So yeah, that is for us devotees who have started the process. I just was thinking of that question because yesterday the Sankirtan group went for book distribution, and they are stopping people and telling them, please take these books. So the assumption is that they don't have faith, they have not heard yet, but we are asking them to take a book. Some people take, some people don't. So is it that some people have faith, that's why they have accepted those books, and those who did not accept don't have faith?
I don't think so, because sometimes some people's heart is a little soft, they say, this guy is giving me a book, let me take it. Somebody are against any, like thinking about even God, they are atheistic completely. They don't want to have any book or anything about the Lord, and they don't want to take it. It's only all by the mercy of Krishna. Actually, some people take Krishna. Krishna gives them intelligence, sometimes to take the book, but it's not like somebody has faith and somebody doesn't have faith. Many people who take the book also do not have faith. Even many devotees, do not have full faith in Krishna. Even they become, so what can be done? We are in material world, we are in Kali Yuga, Ghor Kali Yuga, so it's very hard to say who has the faith and who doesn't have the faith. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Does anybody else have any other comments? Mother Vindyavali, you are on mute.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Yesterday I was there in that Sankirtan thing, this book distribution. I come across so many different kind of people. Some children, they were so attracted to these books, they were dragging their parents to buy the book. That was really surprise to me. And some after we thought, oh, nobody's coming, okay, we're standing, we're closing, people started coming and getting. And some elderly people, they are coming from India, but they know everything. They said, oh, this is a very good thing you people are doing. And I was so surprised. Some middle-aged kids also, they want to know. And which book I should read, they were asking.
Oh, that's great.
That was really surprise to me in all different kind of people. all age group. They came and they did. We had a very good time there. I had a very good time there.
Very nice. Yeah, some people get the mercy of Krishna actually, so they take the book. Some people don't take the mercy of Krishna, Even Krishna is giving them intelligence, take the book, but they don't want to listen, Lord. So it's actually all Krishna's hand is everywhere, his hands and his legs are everywhere. Like we read in the book, in the shloka, that his hands and legs, he's present everywhere, in even small atoms. So he gives intelligence that, okay, buy it, take it, just even you don't read it, still it will give auspiciousness in the house, So sometimes people take it and some people, Krishna doesn't give them that kind of intelligence, so they don't take it. What can be done?
Some parents are saying, no, we'll do it later. They're just taking their kids back. That is a different kind of mentality people have. So,
those kids also must have done something good in their previous life, and some intelligence is from their intelligence. Manna and buddhi both comes from the past life.
Yeah,
with our soul. So that's why different people behave differently, because they had different kind of intelligence.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mataji.
All right. If there are no more questions, we can end the class here. We'll see everybody.
Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I just want to say that.
Yes, Mataji.
I really liked your class very much today. Each word was very important, and I noted down several points. And it was really inspiring and very purifying. And just want to say that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
See everybody at the Sunday feast this evening. And again tomorrow morning at 7:50. Hare Krishna.
Kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhu.
Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anant Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
Thank you very much.
Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.